There's no shortage of new bikes coming out next year, but these are the bikes I'm most excited to ride, review and share with you right here on Just Ride Bikes in 2026. From Tour de France, Aero, Pro race bikes to metal all-road bikes, something for everyone. And before we dive in with the first bike in today's video, if you're new around here and you haven't yet, make sure you are subscribed to the channel by hitting that button down below. Right, let's dive in. And we start with the brand new Colnago Y1RS, even though it's not a brand new anymore. It's been out for nearly 1 year, but despite riding around a car park at a team's launch and the bike's launch in Spain at a team training camp, I've not had a chance to ride it properly on my local roads yet, which is crazy. And yeah, I'm very sad to not have ridden it yet and share a review of the bike with you sooner. But I've asked them, I've chased them, I've nagged them, I've begged them, and hopefully, just hopefully, a bike is coming my way, this way, to Just Ride Bike Studio in the new year. And I'm super excited to see if it lives up to the radical looks and how it really stacks up. There have been other reviews by other media outlets and it seems to review fairly well. But how does a Tour de France race bike actually perform in the real world? Along similar lines, of course, it's a Factor 1 launched just a few days ago with mind-bending looks and outrageous aero claims, but what does it actually ride like? Does it ride well enough to justify or offset the crazy looks? That's what I want to know. And of course, how does it compare to Colnago Y1RS? Having both bikes to test at the same time would be fantastic. Put them in a wind tunnel, perhaps, if you're up for that, or just around a Just Ride Bike test track with a power meter to see how they stack up in real-world testing conditions. And the other interesting thing about the new Factor 1 is the evolution of geometry for race bikes, which it represents, similar to the Ridley Noah, having a steep seat tube angle, a long reach and narrow handlebars, essentially a time trial bike with a drop handlebar to put a rider in a very forward, aggressive head down position. So two very interesting race bikes, but these bikes designed for the Tour de France pro athletes, did it make any sense on normal roads? That's the real question I want to answer for these two bikes, because clearly in the pro hands, they're phenomenal bikes, giving them all the marginal gains they need. But what's they like around your local park? That's what we want to know. If you are expected to drop 15,000 bucks on a bike like this, does it make any sense outside of the pro peloton? Another race bike is the Scott Addict RC, launched in 2025, updated this year, shall I say. So the top level bike weighs a claimed 5.9 kilograms, which is definitely into Specialized Athos money. But unlike the Athos, it's an aero frame, so a race bike with race bike geometry, where the Athos go more relaxed, with full internal routing and aero handlebar. They claim it's 12 watts more aero than the old bike. And like the Athos, it has space for 34mm wide tyres. But of more importance, I think, to regular riders is the fact that comfort has apparently improved by a whopping 34%, thanks to presumably that wider tyre clearance and a new seat tube and rear stay design. So that is a very interesting bike. I've always liked the Scott Addict, always a fantastic race bike, but the promise of that low weight and air performance is a very interesting package, and definitely a bike that really gives the tarmac a run for its money in that potential aero performance and that low weight. Another lightweight bike I'm intrigued to ride to see if lightweight bikes are still relevant in 2026 is the Cervelo R5, which got updated at the Tour de France. The S5 takes all the headlines, I guess, for its aero performance and its crazy looks, but the new R5 is now weighing a claimed 6 kilograms out of the box for a 56, so very light, not as light as the Scott Addict RC or the Specialized Athos, but with the aero performance of a bike like that, it's an interesting package, because while some brands like Specialized have merged their aero and lightweight bikes into one, Cervelo haven't done that, have a lightweight and aero bike, but is that the right way? What's the right way? I don't know, but hopefully riding the Cervelo R5 might put some meat on the bone of that debate. A lot of these top level aero race bikes are designed and tested in the wind tunnel for wind tunnel aero claims, but one bike that potentially bucks the trend is a brand new aero race bike from Argon 18. Argon 18 have really tried to make sure it's a real world bike. I mean, what's that mean? A bike that's usable in the real world and backed up by area testing, but the area testing isn't everything about a bike. That's validation for them and for people who care about aero, but are not really interested in a willy waving contest of who has the most aero bike. And what's also interesting is how it's designed around the 30mm wide tyre on custom scoped wheels, which is similar to what Gerard Rubin did with the original 3T Strada, an aero bike designed around a 28mm wide tyre nearly 10 years ago. So really focusing on the tyres that most people are using in the real world, a 30mm wide tyre, very common, and designing everything around that tyre size on those rims. And that real world element also speaks of it being a usable bike in a range of wind conditions, not just those carefully controlled wind conditions in a wind tunnel. And it's also lightweight as well, with a 6.95 kilogram claim weight, which nudges close to tarmac from Specialized. It looks pretty good as well, lots of funky, mad tube profiles and shaping going on, but pretty, I'm not sure. I think in the right colour, in the right light, and on my local roads, it might look better. I've only seen it at bike shows so far. But yeah, I reserve judgment on that bike, the looks and also how it rides and whether the performance and the handling match up to the sort of marketing talk for that bike. Another aero bike I want to ride and revisit really is the Trek Madone, because I rode the SLR, the range chopping bike, but loads of money. I want to ride the SL with a 105 or Integrale group set, and as I did with the Specialized Tarmac, I was lucky to ride the S-Works and then a mid-range non-S-Works Integrale spec and see the difference between top level and mid-range, and I found there wasn't much in it really, and that video of that Tarmac is linked down below in case you missed it. And I want to visit that Madone SL with Integrale 105 and see if it offers as much of the performance as you need from that SLR, but in a more affordable package. Be heavier of course, but it might ride just as well, and really remind us that there's no need to buy the top of the range bike, buy the mid-range bike, which is 90% maybe of the performance. So that's one I can't wait to ride hopefully next year. Let's move away from carbon fiber to alternative materials, because another bike I'm really excited to ride is the new Fairlight Cycles Strael version 4. I had Dom Thomas, the designer, the genius behind Fairlight Cycles bikes, in the studio probably half a year ago, where he brought a new bike for me to see. I've since ridden the new Sacan version 3, which I'm currently riding with the new SRAM Force Explore group set. But the Strael is definitely a bike I want to ride. I've had lots of requests from lots of viewers because there's lots to get excited about. And it's interesting because the frame set is a claim 280 grams lighter, and shaving weight from steel frames these days is very tough. They're already as light as they get really, so that's very impressive. And tyre clearance has been bumped to 39, so much more usable range of tyres, with tyres getting wider. They're training for wide tyres thanks to lots of clever, ingenious curving of the rear stays, and it's a brand new carbon fork and a claim to improve compliance and comfort as well. So a bike that's lighter, smoother riding and bigger tyres. What's not to like? And also a bike that definitely looks like a lot to like is a new Mason Definition Integrale. So the Definition is Mason's aluminium road bike. They have the Resolution steel road bike, but the Integrale is a racier, sportier version of the Definition. The current Definition continues in the range, but the new version is a sportier model with full internal routing and the geometry being made a bit more aggressive, so slightly lower stack to make it a bit more head down, and a space of 35mm wide tyres, so pretty generous. And like the regular Definition, it still has fender mudguard mount, so a very versatile bike still, and it looks really, really nice. And finally, a gravel bike. The most intriguing, exciting gravel bike next year I want to ride, because there are so many question marks, is a brand new Trek Checkout. The US company's full suspension gravel bike, and not just a mountain bike, a full suspension mountain bike with a drop handlebar, but a brand new platform with short travel designed for gravel. So that is one I want to ride, see if full suspension is the future of gravel, or whether it's overkill, or if it's a perfect bike for an adventure I have planned next year. News on that in the new year. So those are some of the bikes I'm most excited to ride in 2026. Do let me know what bikes you want me to test and review here on Just Ride Bikes by dropping a comment down below. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel by hitting that button down below and on the screen here somewhere, big button floating around. And if you want to see a video where I speculate what new road bikes may be launched or may not be launched next year, watch this video right up here. But that is all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.